What's up, world? I go by DJ Ollie Red, and you are now tuned into the newest episode of the All Things House podcast. On this episode, we have DJ, music producer, record label owner, Steve Robinson. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Steve, what's up, my brother? What's going on? How you doing, bro?
Good. Yeah, how you doing?
Good, man. So we're excited to have you on the podcast. We can, talk some house music, the different scenes out there, and kind of where your, beginnings are until now. Cool?
Yeah.
Cool, bro.
Man.
So let's start from the beginning. How were you kind of introduced to house music?
Early. Really early. I got into dance music probably when I was like 12, something like that. Maybe around that age. And that's where I got my first set of decks. So used my dad's old sort of disco, belt-driven, no-pitch turntables, essentially.
Yeah.
So I was buying vinyl from that age. But then when I got into house music, it was introduced to me through sort of the Radio 1, BBC Radio 1 sort of primetime dance music shows.
Yeah.
Essential Mix, that type of stuff. And then introduced to techno, Jeff Mills, Dave Clark, that type of stuff. And then from there, just house music obviously started becoming part of that consumption of music that was part of those shows. So really early, so like 12, 13, something like that. So I can't really remember, to be honest, a time where I wasn't into it,
Yeah, so it was there basically all your life, huh?
Essentially, yeah. So I was always a fan anyway. Like even when I was before sort of into it, it was always like those classic, dance music, house music, commercial stuff when you were like a kid.
Yeah.
I remember like, the Janet Jackson, Luther Vandross tune, type of music. I was always, resonated with me.
What years was this?
What year was that? So, well, I'm 36 now.
Okay, we're around the same age.
Yeah.
I
can't even. My maths is probably
80s.
bad.
Yeah. 80s. Well, 12 years old. Mid 90s, something like that, right?
It's probably about 90. Probably about 90s. Yeah, mid 90s.
Cool, man. Hell yeah. I mean, if you're kind of grow up in that situation, or not necessarily grow up, but it's always like there in your mind. I think that your roots and sounds will come out strong today because you have a good foundation of the music. It's not just like some fly by stuff you learned like a couple years ago.
But yeah, you'd like to think so. I think from my perspective, the music I'm into and the music I make is rooted in all of that. So when I was getting into house music originally, it was like DJ Sneak, Derek Carter, DJ Heather. So obviously with that in mind, that's the stuff I like fell in love with and absolutely love, and try and make my version of that as best as possible.
Yeah.
And then also play that sort of style as well. But at the same time, trying to keep it fresh and trying to innovate myself as much as I can, rather than just sort of doing the same old thing. But that's where the sort of the roots of where things are. It's just what I love, essentially.
Yeah. That's dope, man. That's dope. So from the beginnings of the DJing, when did that actually become a thought in your mind that you could actually, do it? Was there like a lapse in time, or do you kind of pick it right up from then?
The first memory that I get is being like that 12, 13-year-old getting into sort of buying some vinyl, and then just becoming obsessed with it from there. Like, so I was doing like, man, I was doing like paper rounds to save up for some direct drive turntables, Citronic PD2s they were. And then my dream was to get a DJ M600. So I remember just sort of birthday, Christmas money that I'd get, and then paper round would just be all saved up towards this. And then in terms of getting into it, like I never thought about it as a career because I was a kid. I did it because I just every night just loved it, and I got obsessed with the techniques and stuff. So when I was into sort of techno originally, I was into like Jeff Mills, Dave Clark, and the stuff they were doing. I got a DVD called The Exhibitionist, Jeff Mills. I don't know if you've seen it. It's very I've got 3. It's phenomenal. He's got like 3 vinyl turntables, and he's just got a mixer, and he's just bringing bringing things in and out constantly. He's playing 2 tracks at the same time constantly. I remember listening to like Dave Clark Essential Mix and seeing him videos on the old sort of YouTube videos you could try and get of him doing these like cutting things with the it wasn't the fader, it was actually, do you know the switch when you switch from like at the top of the channel, so you've got like the switch from,
Yeah.
yeah, he was like cutting in and out with that, and there was just stuff that was just really creative. So I got obsessed with the techniques of mixing with 3 decks, playing 2 at the same time continuously. And then also I got into a bit of I went down a rabbit hole of getting into a bit of sort of like turntablism stuff as well.
Okay.
So I got into like DJ Q-Birds, Rock Raider, and the DMC stuff. So I was trying to incorporate all this stuff into what I was doing. But again, it was because I was doing it at home in my bedroom in my parents' house. It was just purely for, instead of playing the PlayStation, that was my thing.
You like your little getaway.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously that's quite a rare, there's nowhere else into that other than what my best mate Liam, me and him were the same, and he lived around the corner from me. So every day we'd go around to each other's houses with vinyl we bought and just listen to music and stuff. So that became just something that me and him were super into. But obviously, 14-year-old kids don't tend to be into that, I don't think.
No, they don't. The only one,
at least I think.
I about to say, but there's only like a select few. Like I think I remember in high school there was maybe like 1 or 2 kids that were like into like just not even house music DJing, but just DJing in general. What those kids are doing right now these days. I mean, I hope they're spinning. But yeah, anyways. But so that when did it become like a thing for you? Like when you actually get to go out and play?
Yeah, so I grew up on the Wirral, which is on the other side of the Mersey of Liverpool.
Liverpool, okay.
So it's basically, it's easy just to say Liverpool because no one really knows the Wirral. So when I started going out properly, I was first introduced to going out to like proper clubs when I was going to Circus and Shibuya in Liverpool.
Okay.
So Circus being Yousef's night and label.
Oh yeah.
And that's the first time I experienced this music in the surroundings it's meant to be played in, because it was always just on a hi-fi stereo at home or my speakers that I was playing music through.
Yeah.
And then hearing it in that environment just gave me that, just changes the whole perspective of the music itself. You feel the bass and the kick drum and stuff. And from there, I started playing out a little bit around Liverpool, essentially. Just going to local different nights as well, getting involved in that scene, and just sort of playing a lot around the area in terms of local nights. And then there was Jackin House actually was pretty big at the time actually. So Circus was very Jackin at the time.
Oh yeah.
So there was a lot of Derek Carter stuff being played. There was a tune, Black Hat, I think it was Another Woman or something like that. I can't remember, but it was the DJ Heather was there. It was proper sort of more of a Jackin scene than what it is now.
Yeah.
So there was other Jackin nights around as well. So I was playing Jackin from then, maybe 17, something like that, when I started going out, and then just started playing out around Liverpool, playing that type of stuff. So it's quite good actually, because I can dive into those old records I bought all those years ago. And I still have them, so just refer back to and bring out again,
Yeah, and if most people when you play them now, they'll ask you what's the ID, because it sounds new to them.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. And then the other part of me playing out more was I then moved to London.
Okay.
In 2011, and then just start again. You move into a new city, you don't know anyone, you know maybe a couple of people, you meet people by just work and stuff. And then started going out to a local night in Brixton. And then basically that was more of, I guess, it was quite an eclectic stuff, but it was rooted in sort of disco type music, but it would be varied. They have DJs on like Giles Peterson, who'd be quite broad in what he plays, and they had Derek Carter do disco there and that type of stuff. So I got to know the promoter there and played for him. once did a warm up for him, and then I think when I did the warm up, he came up to me and was like, "Oh yeah, we'll get you on every week now," or something like that. Because I was playing vinyl there as well. Took some of the vinyl down to London,
Yeah.
and he's become like one of my best mates as well now. So that was sort of the kick off in terms of like I had a residency there, and I was warming up for sort of big DJs really. Like
Yeah.
I was into edits at the time, so when I got into production, I originally started making like reworks and edits, a little bit like the Late Night Tough Guy type stuff, Dr. Packer. So warmed up for Tough Guy, like warmed up for like Hot Chip, and had all these like amazing opportunities to play with these like massive DJs and people that you idolize, you know, and that's sort of where the regular amount of playing came through, is like basically the 17, 18 playing out in Liverpool, then moving to London at like 24, having a 5-year-ish residency when I was down there, and then 5 years ago moved to Sydney.
So yeah, let's get in there to Sydney. How is the scene different from where you were to kind of where you are now?
It's an interesting question because I've lived here during COVID, so 2 years of me being here, it's been COVID. And then when I first came for the first couple of years, I literally knew no one. I mean, that's probably an exaggeration. I had a couple of people being a Brit come to Sydney, and it's like, you're not the first one to do it. So like I had some new mates and stuff like this, but it was not something, I didn't really go out in the scene as much at all, because I was just still trying to like set up a life and meet people, and you know, all that type of stuff, which in hindsight now, going to these nights would have been a good catalyst for that,
of course.
But having said that, I didn't know what the nights were. I didn't know what was good. I didn't know where to go. You know, it's all that type of stuff. You're learning a lot. So in terms of like the comparison of the scene, I can only really talk from COVID. Which by all accounts has probably changed quite a bit anyway because of COVID.
Yeah.
The biggest difference, I'd say with London, this is from my perspective, there seems to be a lot more like, it's just a bigger city. I realized when I went back and I visited just how ginormous that city is, and the amount of stuff going on is crazy.
That's a lot.
And there's a lot of stuff goes on here as well, but I'd say it's more like it may be more you can probably go, okay, there's that night, okay, I can go to one of those 2-3 nights. But in London, it's just like, it can be overwhelming how much there is, which can be a good thing. But I'd say that's probably the difference I spotted.
How about the music? Is it kind of comparable the same?
I think it depends. I think, to be honest, I probably still getting to know the scene a bit, actually. Because of COVID and coming out a bit more. Yeah. I haven't been able to find this point, and it does things like this happen, like the underground warehousey type parties and stuff. I know they happen, but I just don't think I haven't been to any of them yet.
Okay, yeah.
So in London, I lived there for like 6 years, almost 7 years, and didn't have a pandemic to sort of keep me in the house for a couple of years. So yeah, I was regularly going out, and I had like a group of mates who were into it as well. Whereas here, it's been more like sort of, well, to be honest, like a lot of the time, just going out on my own to a gig because I want to go. Yeah. So I'd say it's a different experience for me, because it's not like that core group of mates going, "Oh, I just want to go to see, I don't know, Jeff Mills on Friday." Yeah. Jamie Jones. Whereas if I see like Jamie Jones is playing here, I'll be like, "Oh, who do I know that wants to go to that?" Yeah. I'll just go on my own, because also as well, a lot of my mates have got kids now. Oh yeah. Yeah. You know, so it's a different experience for me in that sense.
You know Felicity, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Everything she because obviously she was a former guest of the podcast.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one for sure. Every time I see her play, it's front of these, you know, I feel as though it's always sunny over there, and it's always extra bright, or on a boat or something like that. So it's
Yes.
I'm interested to see like what the underground scene looks like.
Yeah, I think that's something I'm going to get into a bit more. I
Okay.
think the scene around. I've been on a few of the boat parties,
Hmm.
and man, they're just you look around, you be like, can it get better than this?
Yeah.
You know, you listen to house music going around Sydney Harbour in the sun.
Yeah.
What else can be really better than that? So sometimes you have to pinch yourself and be like, wow, this is pretty amazing. This like as an
Mhm.
experience, but yeah, I think the underground stuff. I think I've been to a few. I'm trying to think what I've been to. I've been out quite a bit recently this year, actually.
Yeah.
It's all sort of merging in. Um, I went to one on Saturday actually, and that was good. That was sort of like one of those classic. You walk in, and it's you know, the classic underground feel,
Yeah.
vibes and stuff. That was good. That was at the Jackin Hotel, I think it was called.
Who was on that,
Um,
Bill?
so Felicity was on.
Yep.
She had her own thing. Mixed Methods Project was on.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
DJ
right.
Tommy Trash was on, and then like a, artist duo called Matoni, who are local to here as well.
Hmm.
They were playing. It was just yeah, it was one of them where you go and you like that moment I told you when I went to Circus and you feel like
Yeah.
you feel the music rather than just sort of hearing it in your headphones
Yeah.
is one of them. So it's the appetite there, like to carry on going out, like
For sure. For sure. Are you like out gigging right now or no? I'm not really. Like
I'm wanting to be gigging more now.
yeah.
So I'm actually funny enough. I'm playing tomorrow, so or Saturday.
Okay.
So that'll be the first gig of the year for me. And that's good lineup actually, man. It's Josh Butler.
Yep.
He's on, so he's in New Zealand at the moment now, and then coming over for this gig. So he's on some support on the supporting lineup for that, which is wicked.
That's cool.
And then the goal really, as I said, is just to get playing out a bit more. Like I love it. I've been doing it for so long, but also when you've got so much unreleased music as well that you sort of want to test out and hear and that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. It's cool. So yeah, that's tomorrow, and then it's just a case of just um cracking on and looking for the opportunities really.
Yeah, yeah, man. So let's that's good. So actually, on the music aspect of it, you mentioned earlier that you were doing kind of the mashups or the edits.
Yeah.
Did you see that as like a natural progression in your DJ, or is that something that you all kind of wanted to do?
Um, it was I wanted to do it rather than like, oh, I need to do this to progress myself. It was a bit like when I got into DJing. It was like I heard Late Night Tough Guy, and he did a mix when it was pretty much before he was sort of went really really big as he is now. And it just fascinated me the fact that he had like this like super thumping bassy bassiness to these records, and
Hmm.
I was like, I want to learn to do that, and I just sort of I got Ableton and started just sampling and trying to replicate something similar and make my own stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I learned quite quickly actually. So that was where my production sort of journey, I guess, started in a way. I did do some production as a kid,
Okay.
like in school and stuff,
Yeah.
but it didn't I bought Ableton maybe when I was like maybe like 12 years ago and started doing that.
Mhm.
And then uh, I then realized sort of as I was putting out edits out there, I was putting reworks out. Because I didn't want to just do an edit. I wanted to actually replay the bass line, for example,
Yeah.
rather than just stick some drums under
Hmm.
a track type thing. So I released an EP on Hot Digits label, which is Fingerman's label, which is a very disco edity thing, and it did really well. But that was more production stuff. Like it
Okay.
got in the review of it, it got reference to sort of like a Tiger and Woods type thing where it's like edity but with production
With it.
sort of yeah, a bit of a merge.
Yeah.
And then I was given a bit of advice actually around making original stuff, because it's just something that can differentiate yourself a bit more.
Yeah.
So I went down that route maybe like 5-6 years ago of like, okay, I'm gonna like commit to just making original stuff, because I think what I found was a bit like if you want to make a really good edit or rework and you kill it and it sounds wicked, it can just get picked up by another major player in that game, and
Yeah.
they're going to get the visibility for it. But that's cool. But I think when it's original stuff, it's like, okay, this I can do the edits, which is basically like stuff for my own DJ sets, or can put it on SoundCloud for free or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I think when I mentioned about like each time there's been an appetite and an enthusiasm. So getting into DJing was like really keen and excited for that. Then the edit stuff, and then it was just a natural progression, because I was learning production whilst making edits. It wasn't, as I said, it wasn't just edits. It was,
Yeah.
I was producing stuff around it, and then that just naturally progressed into the house side of things.
Correct. Yeah. Question about the do you think that stands true today? Meaning, like, people that kind of, there's two sides of the house. There's one side of, create your own music, and then there's a lane that, kind of take a catchy vocal or this catchy part, like a well-known part of a song, and then make it into your own. So do you think the way of your thinking has changed over, or is it just kind of like an individual, whatever that person kind of wants to do?
I think it's whatever the individual wants to do, to be honest. I think whatever you're into, I don't think I like, for me, I'll just make stuff that I like, and I don't have any goals in mind when I'm actually making the track. I don't think about the label it's going to be on. I might think of the environment that it might be played in whilst I'm through it. Like, oh, this might be more of a warm up, loungy type tune, or this might be a main room sort of techie house thing. And I'll imagine the environment that's being played in. But I think to be honest, it's just make what you like and be into it. And what I don't do for sure, my advice to people would be like, don't try and do the thing that's cool now, or that's happening, so I'm going to do that. Take inspiration for sure, without a doubt. But I think just be sort of true to what you want to make. I think that's the key. But then naturally, I think by consuming music anyway, you'll be inspired even subconsciously from stuff. So you might go, oh, like, get that catchy vocal and use that. And also as well, if you're making a lot of music, just do both if you're into it.
For sure.
Why not?
Hell yeah.
If you don't release it, you've got a track that no one's got, and you can play in your sets.
Exclusive, right? It's all exclusive. For sure. So that actually another good segue into, you have a record label. Can you introduce your record label?
Yeah. So the label Scream Soda Records. So I launched it mid 2022.
Okay.
And it just got born out of again, just these things just happen where I get an idea and I just go, let's do that. That sounds cool. For me, it was like, oh, that would be quite a cool creative avenue to go down. I'd also give me like an opportunity to almost like manage my own like release schedule a bit more, a little bit easier. So for example, if you work with other labels, you might not be able to get a release for like 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is. But then suddenly those labels you're working with might be wanting to release the tracks really close together. So you're sort of getting, I found it, I wanted to do as a way to sort of manage that process, but also give me a creative outlet of like, what's my interpretation of house music, and what the label stands for essentially. So I put a lot of work into I guess the ethos and what I want it to be and stuff. And the goal for me really with it is my take on like house music and stuff. It should be like fun and it should be enjoyed. And the reason people go out is to have fun, but also like, not take yourself too seriously, that type of thing. But also, there's quality involved in it and stuff. And also at the same time, have like what I mentioned before about the DJing and making music, is that root within what house music and underground dance music was, and sort of staying true to that. So that's sort of the ethos around it, and I try and get that across through like the graphics and the branding and stuff, that it's like there to be, it's not to be taken too seriously, but it's a little bit like a bit fun as well.
Are you guys accepting demos at a time?
Yes, we are. Yeah. So yeah, we get some through every now and then. I don't push it, to be honest. I don't push like demos, but yeah, of course. Like I think for me, it's like I started it as an outlet for me to release my music regularly.
Yeah.
But of course, yeah. If I get some good music through that I'm like, yeah, I'd play this, then yeah, definitely be keen on putting it out to people.
Cool. We'll put your if it's okay, we'll put the demo email in the profile
Sure.
or the
Yeah,
link.
sounds good.
Cool. So the label is, if I can assume, which I don't like to assume, but from your beginning stories to kind of now, it seems like Jackin House is kind of in your makeup, your musical makeup. Is that kind of what the your label is rooted in as well?
Yeah. Well, I actually in my head would refer to it as like a underground dance music label.
Okay.
Just because I make quite a broad range of that music, like all based within like grooves. So my latest EP it's got quite a chill tune on it actually.
Okay.
But then I've got a tune coming out later this year that's like an absolute fucking tech house.
Okay.
Probably big room thing.
Yeah.
So I want it to sort of almost like it's that if it's underground and it's got groove, then I'm into it. Then that's what it's about. But traditionally at the moment, it's like Jackin's the thing that I've been putting out a bit more. But I've been experimenting a lot with like the tech house side of things as well, just to sort of keep things fresh and broad. So I wouldn't say it's a Jackin House label and that's it. I'd say like if you've got a tech house tune that has like that, that quality and that ethos around the underground and stuff, then for sure that can fit as well. So it's a broad range really.
Very cool. I always see on your IG, are you using Serato samplers called?
Yeah, for example, yeah.
Is that one of your go-tos right there?
Yeah, it is. I actually picked that up from Demure, actually.
Yeah.
Of course, he uses it a lot. I've got a lot of my plugins I've picked up from him actually. I think many people are the same as well. But it's
for sure.
It's excellent. It's just for generating ideas, coming up with stuff, messing around. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, bro, we are coming to the end of the podcast, but I want to get if you can remember real quick, the top 5 VSTs you use currently.
All right. So Serato sample will be there.
Okay.
Track spacer.
Okay.
Is the other.
Yeah.
Soothe.
Yeah.
So for like cutting out, different like frequencies and stuff that are annoying and stuff. It's amazing. I use Sound Toys Effect Rack quite a lot.
Okay.
That's probably not one plugin. You can't just say it's one plugin, it's multiple, but it's got presets within it. I use that quite a lot. How many is that now?
I think that was 5, but it sounds like you have one more.
I use the Valhalla stuff as well. So like I use Ubermod and I use the reverbs as well for them. They're the top ones I think that come to mind straight away. But there's more. But I think Soothe gets used on everything. Track spacer gets used on everything. Serato, if I'm coming up with an idea via that, yeah.
Cool, bro. Well, man, thanks for coming on the podcast. Where can everybody find you at?
So Instagram, it's Steve Robinson DJ. It's pretty simple. I haven't really thought about that too much there. Same with Facebook. There's Scream Soda Records on Instagram as well, and I've got the website steverobinsondj.com as well, so you can find stuff there as well.
Cool, bro.
That'll be it. Yeah,
we'll definitely put all your links and stuff in the caption on YouTube for sure, bro.
Yeah, wicked. Thanks,
man. I just wanted to thank them once again. Thank you for coming on, and this is a new episode of the All Things House podcast. Peace.
Thanks for having me.